Welcome back to the Wednesday video. Now today's video, I was kind of iffy about filming this video because boring, but at the same time I have a lot of thoughts and have a lot of rants about the new Lion King movie. While it's not new, it's live action? No, it's not live action because it's not real animals. It's CGI because it's not real animals. Anyways, I have a lot of thoughts and rants about the Lion King movie. I cannot keep them in my head for so long. I have to like tell someone, I have to let it out because it's just so many thoughts just rumbling in my head. I'm gonna explode someday. But if you don't like reviews and reactions and stuff like that, click off this video. I have other fun videos on my channel. But also, if you haven't watched the movie and you're planning to, do not watch this video. Click off immediately because I will say a little bit of spoilers, not too much. If you don't care for spoilers and you're just like, I'm gonna watch the movie anyways, you can keep on watching. But for those who have watched the movie and you want to know my opinion and my thoughts, keep on watching. So yeah, without further ado, let's get to my reaction to the new Lion King movie. Before I start saying anything and giving my review and my critiques on the movie, I just want to say that I am not a huge live action Disney fan. Like I just think they're dumb. That's just my opinion. Other people love it, but I feel like some remakes were useless because like you don't have to mess around with the original movies, you know. So I felt like the Lion King one didn't necessarily need a remake, but they did it anyways. But I'm gonna put my hand up. The only reason why I watched this movie was because Beyonce was in it, and I'm guilty for that. I'm gonna be honest. I'm proud to say that because Lion King live action, I just didn't think it was necessary. But then I saw the cast and I saw Beyonce. I was like, okay, Beyonce, you better serve us some queen action, you know. And you know, she's Nala. You know, Nala is a big female role in you know, the original Lion King and this Lion King. So you know, it's, you know, I wanted to see for myself. So but before like the movie even came out, and even just they barely announced the cast, a lot of people had things to say. A lot of people were saying some stuff about Beyonce, stuff about this people, saying there's too much white people in an African based movie, and it's just like a lot of people had a lot of opinions. And I feel like you can't have your full opinion yet until you watch the full movie, which is why I'm making this video for you guys, because I have some opinions. Barely the trailer came out, it was like a little snippet of Beyonce's voice, and people were saying she's overrated, or you know, she doesn't fit as Nala, or you know, she's better off as a singer than an actor, and also like, oh, she just ruined the whole movie for me. You know, there was just so many different comments. You know, I wanted to see it for myself to see if that's true, if people actually think that, if that's how my reaction is gonna be when the movie ends. So my full review. Now I have a list on my phone of things I didn't like and things I did like, things that I recognize and things that, you know, needed to be done. So we're gonna start off with things I didn't like for this movie. Now, things I didn't like, which a lot of people were talking about, you know, in the comments of like YouTube videos and stuff like that, the lack of emotion. Now, the animals are photoreal animals, so in real life, animals don't show emotion. They don't, you know, they don't smile or grin. They just, you know, when they're angry, they go rawr. Like they don't make like a certain facial expression. So of course the animals are not going to emote the way we want them to, especially in the animation. The animation of the original Lion King, you know, they can see Simba crying out tears and all that stuff. But in this movie, you don't see none of that. You just hear the voices. But you know what? But the one thing I did like was the voices. The voices actually made you feel the emotions of the characters. So like the voice actors were amazing, especially the young Simba. He did a very good job. I don't know what his name is, I'll put his name right here, but the actor who played young Simba, his emotions were good, his voice, it just, everything was fantastic with him. Another thing I didn't like, in the original movie you see the dust, you know, the dust flying all the way to Rafiki, and that's how Rafiki finds out Simba's alive. This one, in this remake, it's a fur, pieces of his fur from his mane. That was not necessary. I felt like it was a filler in the movie, and it was just barely getting into like the good parts of the movie. So I felt like it was 7 minutes long of us just staring at fur flowing around the Pride Rock. I was just like, I was just slurping my large icy, saying like, this is useless. This is not even, what are we looking at? You know, like I felt like they could have, you know, added more sequence into that 7 minutes. You know, we could have just saw 2 minutes of the fur flowing. You know, you could have added things like that. You could have added more things instead of adding just a 7 minute us looking at fur getting eaten by a giraffe, getting pooped out by a giraffe, get the poop being opened by a beetle, and then the fur flying to Rafiki. I felt like it was just a filler. I didn't like it. I felt like it was useless. It was just, it like kind of droned me out of the movie. I was just like, oh, this is really dumb. Also, the last thing I didn't like about the movie was the Nala and Simba love scene. Wow, when they rekindled and when they found each other. I felt like it was too rushed. I felt like, because in the movie, they're, you know, they don't just go, Nala, Simba, you know. In this movie, they immediately, right when they saw each other, they're like, Nala, Simba, you know, and they're like, oh my god, and they fell in love. But in the original movie, it took a little bit of time, and like, you know, it kind of progressed a little bit more into like their love story. And in this one, it just rushed things in, and I didn't like that about it. So I was just kind of like, that was a little no-no for me. It was just like, it felt too rushed. It didn't feel like it was, you know, it felt like they just rushed it because, you know, they used the 7-minute filler of the first scene, so they didn't have enough time. Now those are just 3 things that I didn't like. Now let's get into the what I did like category. Now the things that I loved were the cinematography. Oh my god, the cinematography, like, I get it, like, everything is CGI'd and it's like computer generated, but I was so like, because when things are CGI'd, some, you know, some things always get messed up. You see a little glitching, a little statics from here. You know, usually when you see a monster, an arm is supposed to go this way, but it went this way because it glitched. But this one, the cinematography and the computer generated images were so perfect. I felt like I was engulfed into the movie. Like, I felt like I was actually in Africa. Like, you know, it just, everything was so beautifully done. Like, just like the setting of it was so aesthetically pleasing. It felt like I was watching, I know, and I was watching a lot of reviews, and a lot of people were saying it felt like you're watching like the National Geographic, like you're watching a National Geographic video, and it felt like that. And honestly, that was probably the, like, my highest end of this movie was the cinematography and how everything looked. And, you know, the animals, they didn't look, you know, fake. They looked actual animals. When you know, there were some shots where the camera went very close to their face, and they didn't look fake. They looked like real. You know, the details that they put in the CGI, it was perfectly done. It was amazing, and I really did truly enjoy that. And it was just amazing. Like, it was like satisfactory. Like, I was just, yes, at least if the movie sucked, at least the cinematography got my vote. Okay, so I am a sucker for sad movies. I like to cry. Okay, make fun of me all you want, but I like to cry. And when I watch a movie, especially Disney movies, I expect to cry. I wanted to see if this movie made me cry, especially the Mufasa death. Now, the Mufasa death didn't make me emotional, but it made me feel like, damn, I feel so bad for Simba. Like, you know, because these are real animals, so it's different when you watch it in animation. And I think many people can kind of like pinpoint me on this one. When you're watching real life animals getting hurt or die, you kind of have a different emotion than when you watch animated animals, because this one you're like watching someone shoot a lion for no reason, and it's just like, oh no, the lion. But I didn't cry. I just felt really bad for Simba because he had to watch his father die, and I felt really bad for Mufasa being dead and stuff like that. But it didn't make me cry. The one thing that I did find emotional was the scene where the Simba and Nala, when they're on the rock and they're singing "Can You Feel the Love Tonight?" Oh my god. I was sitting on my chair drinking my large blue raspberry icy, and I felt a tear coming down. Like, just like, because of, no, it's not because of Beyonce's vocals, like, no, don't get me wrong, but like the song, and then when you see like real life animals, like, you know, kind of like falling in love, it was so beautiful. Oh my god, it was so beautiful, and I loved it, and it like got me to the point where I almost cried, but I didn't cry. Now, another thing I did love was the jokes between Timon and Pumbaa. Now, Timon and Pumbaa were actually my favorite characters of The Lion King, which I'll talk about that more later. But they really, like, their jokes between them, it was funny. It had me cracking up. There was another thing also, one of their jokes was like a Beauty and the Beast joke, which I was watching a lot of review reactions about the movie, and nobody was talking about this specific joke, but I got this joke. It was a Beauty and the Beast joke. You know, and spoiler alert, by the way, spoiler alert. In the movie, they're trying to distract. This is when Simba comes back. Nala tells him, "You better come back." So Simba decides to come back to his land, and this is where the hyenas and Scar are like ruling over it. So Timon and Pumbaa distract the hyenas, so that Simba can go with Scar, and the hyenas will attack them. So so Timon and Pumbaa, they're right there distracting the hyenas, and then Timon starts singing like the Beauty and the Beast song, like "Be Our Guest," and he was like, "Be our guest, be our guest," and they start running because the hyenas start getting hungry and stuff like that, and that was pretty funny. That made me laugh because I get the joke. A lot of people didn't really laugh. I think the kids laughed because he was running away, but they didn't get the joke, which is funny to me because, you know, it's like an added scene, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But it was hilarious and I started laughing. So that was one of like the funny things about this movie. I like that. It was a cool touch to it. And the last thing that I loved about the movie obviously is Beyonce. Like Beyonce, I felt like Nala had a bigger role. It wasn't too big, but it was like a bigger than the role that Nala had in the original movie. And I'm very happy that Beyonce got to be part of this movie, and she got to be part of, you know, being Nala, you know, being like, you know, the queen, you know, of lions and stuff like that. And I was very happy that she got that scene. I mean, that part. And I felt like she had a big role. Like she had a few you know, moments where it was like a big moment for like Nala and stuff like that, but it wasn't too much where she overpowered Simba and stuff like that. It all like tied in together, and I really liked that a lot about the movie, which was one thing didn't overpower this, and then both of them just kindled together. It was a beautiful whole like movie and stuff like that, and I really liked that. One thing I noticed was Timon and Pumbaa stole the show. They were like I said at the beginning, they're my favorite characters of Lion King, besides Nala, obviously, because Beyonce. But Timon and Pumbaa were hilarious from when we first saw them in the scene to the end, and they were hilarious. It was just so funny. I felt like they like carried the movie a little, and which is good because they're funny. I mean, Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner, they're funny together. Just like, it was just hilarious. I like the fact that Timon and Pumbaa were like, they're like iconic duos. Like, name an iconic duo, I'll wait, you know. So they were funny. Another thing I've also noticed was they added a few scenes, which I'm not gonna say. I do know what scenes are added, but I'm not gonna say because it's too much spoilers. But they did add a few scenes here. It wasn't like too many scenes where it's just like, oh, like this just ruined the whole storyline of the movie. No, it like fit into the movie a little bit, but you notice that, oh, this is not a part of The Lion King. And also, some things I noticed were some songs from the original movie weren't sang. Like when Timon and Pumbaa sing, I'm in the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps at night. They didn't sing that song, which is, I feel like, besides Hakuna Matata, that was also a big major point for The Lion King, which is a funny part and stuff like that. So they didn't sing that, which sucks. But, you know, when you do remakes, you kind of have to twist it a little bit, just the storyline, not too much, because if you do it too much, you're gonna upset some fans, die-hard Lion King fans and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. All I have to say is that my recommendation for this movie, if you haven't watched it, watch it in IMAX. I feel like this movie, because of the cinematography and how photoreal these animals look and how detailed it is, I feel like it would have been better in IMAX, because then the surround sound, you would have felt the roar, like especially the roars of the lions, like you felt their chair vibrate, like it was vibrating. And I felt like IMAX would have done this movie justice. Like I would have gave this movie a 10 out of 10, but I'm gonna give this 8 out of 10 because I'm giving -2 points for the lack of emotions, and also just for those few scenes that I didn't like. I just feel like, you know, some of those scenes deduct some points off the movie. But overall, the movie was a great movie. I suggest you guys watch it. But if you guys are not into like kids yelling and, you know, talking during the movie, go in the nighttime, maybe like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Because kids are ruthless and they will just get up from their seat. You know, kids are anxious and stuff like that. They just want to roam around. But I say go at nighttime when they're supposed to be in bed. If not in bed, then I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry that your movie experience was ruined. But overall, it was such a great movie. My experience of the movie was very good. There was no crying kids. Someone did fart in the movie theaters, which is very no shame, but I mean, you know, I was just laughing. I was like, I even said out loud, like, fucking no shame, you know. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want more videos like this, make sure to video big thumbs up or comment down below any other videos you want to film. Maybe I'll take inspiration actually filming them. But thank you guys so much. I love The Lion King. I think I'm gonna go watch the original one. I haven't watched the original one in years, so I think I'm gonna go give it a look. Also, thank you guys so much. And also, I'm sorry content hasn't really been very cool lately. You know, just YouTube takes a lot out of people's day, and it does take money away. So I don't want to be doing too much crazy things, because then again, it is summer, vacation, food, barbecues, all that stuff, and a lot of things cost money. So just bear with me for a little bit. Once I get a job and once I start, you know, piling in some money a little bit, I'll put in some cool little sweet touches into these videos. So if you haven't already, like to be, hit that subscribe button down below, turn on the post notifications to know every time I upload a video on every Wednesday. And yes, thank you guys so much, and as always, I'll see you guys next Wednesday.